Welcome to Secrets from the Scene, a show for local musicians who want to improve their music, grow their audience, and learn about Minnesota's music scene. If you're interested in talking about all things music related and meeting interesting people from our local community, you're in the right place. Welcome to Secrets from the Scene. My name is Stephen Helvig, and I'm your host. Today's episode will be fun. We've got Riley Helgeson, who's the band leader for McNasty Brass Band. And the reason why I think it's going to be so interesting is, first of all, we haven't had a brass band on before, so that's already unique, just that in itself. But I think that if you take a second to think about what being in a brass band means, you're going to come to a whole new appreciation, and I'm sure Riley's going to shed a lot of light on that for us. If you think that scheduling your band rehearsals is difficult, well, try to have 10 plus members and then do it and see how that goes. Today, we're going to talk about just the logistics of running any sort of large ensemble. Riley does a whole lot more outside of McNasty Brass Band, so I'm hoping we're going to touch on some of that things. But yeah, I think just diving into how this whole system works is really interesting, and what makes brass bands different from the type of gigs you get, the opportunities you get, the pros and cons, all of that. But Riley is a professional, independent musician in every sense of the word. Trumpet player, composer, band leader, director. Basically, if there's a role or a title in the music industry, Riley's probably doing it at this point. He gave me a long list of the different responsibilities and jobs and positions he occupies today, which is very typical and also very impressive. So please welcome Riley Helgeson.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks for making the time. You're a busy guy.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So let's start a little bit about yourself. Just kind of give people the rundown of some of the short history.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a professional trumpet player in the Twin Cities. I love doing that. I love playing with jazz groups, funk groups. Brass band has a really special place in my heart. Outside of playing, I work as a booking agent. I work as an entertainment booker, and I manage talent for a company with a home base in the Twin Cities called Rock With You Entertainment. Mm-hmm. I do booking for a group called the Four Freshmen. I'm the jazz program director for an educational music camp at the Shell Lake Arts Center. I serve on the board of directors for the Twin Cities Musicians Union. And now this is where I forget things. I'm a composer. I freelance. I write for other people. I write for myself. You know, it's a long list, but I think any other professional musician in this era has a pretty similar size list.
They do. They do. It's what it takes. And there are pros and cons to doing that. You know, obviously you stay diversified. You have different income streams and different talents that you get to flex at different times. You know, I think you mentioned when you were telling me that, like, it's nice if you're feeling burned out on one thing, you can kind of lean into the other thing. And yeah. And I think that's very real. So it's good. But all the same, you know, it's not to diminish. That's a lot of stuff to balance.
It's a lot. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love to stay busy. I love to stay diverse in the ways I'm busy. If you catch me doing one thing for too long, you're going to be able to tell. Yeah. I look down and out.
Sure. All right. So let's talk about the brass band side of things, because, you know, we're here today to talk McNasty mostly. First of all, I think when people think of brass band, at least when I think of brass band, I think of like a party, essentially. Always.
Yes.
But what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding people have about a brass band?
Well, the literal biggest misunderstanding, you'll see it on any of our YouTube videos, is if you are thinking of the British brass band tradition, that's a completely different style of music, but still called brass band. So online, very often you'll see a very clever bloke comment, "How do you call yourself a brass band if you have saxophones?" It's like, come on, man. Just, you get it.
Yeah.
But that is literally the biggest thing. We get it all the time. You see it all over the place. It's like, no. This is from the New Orleans brass band tradition. I think you should understand that by how we sound.
True. Right. Definitely New Orleans inspired. And that's generally what I think people here would think of when they hear brass band. But technically, what would be the correct term for your ensemble?
Oh, we're a brass band, tried and true. And what we like to do as a brass band is write our own music, original compositions that are kind of steeped in the sounds and traditions of New Orleans music. So rather than straight up lift what's happening in New Orleans, maybe be a gateway for people to go find out for themselves what's going on down in New Orleans. Like they'll hear our sound, catch onto it, dig it, and then go see like, well, where'd this all start?
Yeah.
You know.
Tell people more about the sound. Like, what would they expect if they have no idea what this is, what they're getting into?
Yeah, so straight up instrumentation is 3 trumpets, 2 trombones, tenor saxophone, bari saxophone, and then the most unique part that gives us our sound is our rhythm section, which is a bass drum with a cymbal attached, a snare drummer with cymbals, and a sousaphone. So our rhythm section is 3 people, sousaphone or tuba, pretty much laying it down as the bass instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And then our 2 percussionists coming together, playing just 1 drum and cymbals each, but really, really making more sound than a whole drum kit sometimes. So it really gives us that driving groove that creates the sound.
You've mentioned, it's rooted in the New Orleans style, but, on the website and that sort of thing, you also talk about the Minneapolis sound too, and kind of bridging these things. Mm-hmm. Where do you think the 2 things not come from, but like, what does that mean in reality? Like, what are each thing and how do they come together?
Yeah. So I think the way that we initially described it was the spirit of New Orleans in our music. And that is the groove. That's what's happening in the rhythm section. That's that drive, the way we play horn lines, the way we play with each other, the way we tailgate, which is, if there's a little breather in a musical phrase and someone is so moved, then they're just going to solo in the open space.
Okay.
Things like that just literally pull from the tradition of New Orleans music. And then all of us are students of the Minneapolis sound. We all love that music. We all played that music. We've all played that music for years in various capacities. So then when it comes to composing and writing, what a sound. We're going to try to pull that through. We're going to try to pull out what makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis.
Yeah, got it. Mm-hmm. And so the origins of McNasty Brass Band, how did it get started?
I am not an OG member, and I've been in the band since, I've been in the band almost 13 years, I think. Goodness. So it started from a school that shall not be named. It was an ensemble at McNally Smith College of Music, McNasty Brass Band. It was directed by Scott Agster, a trombonist and fantastic musician that we all get to work with in the Twin Cities. And he kind of opened everyone's ears, opened everyone's eyes to that kind of music, encouraged people to start writing their own music. And after they took a trip down to New Orleans, they just really fell in love, started playing for keeps. And then they brought on Sten Johnson to the band. And then Sten was working as our manager and kind of helped bring in me, Jake, other various people just from the Twin Cities, because we wanted to start playing definitely in music clubs in the Twin Cities. Like, sure, it started as a college ensemble.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, this is something, and we want to give it a real go.
Yeah. So you were not a McNally student?
No.
Okay.
No, I was at the U of M.
Got it.
But all those, I enjoyed this kind of music. I love funk music. I love horn band stuff. So I would end up hanging out with all the students at McNally Smith just regularly.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's get into some of the logistics now of the big band stuff.
Okay.
Like, how many members are there?
There's 10 of us.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you designate who's doing what? Obviously, there's, people have their parts they're playing. I'm talking about on the business side of like.
On the business side, well, I'll say a couple things. We're 10 people deep. At one point, we were 11 people deep. We had in our much younger years, let's say 10 years ago, we rehearsed every single week. There's no way we had that many gigs, but we rehearsed every week, worked on new music, kept everything super tight. Cutoffs were together, articulations were together. It was an amazing time. Everyone had a lot of free time. That is not necessarily the case 10 years later. But in those 10 years, we've become, we're a 10-part owned business. So as far as those decisions go, we have a certain level of decision that needs to be unanimous, certain level of decision that needs to be majority, certain level of decision that needs to be just like, okay, the deciding person gets to decide this one. Between that and, let's say, writing music, whoever wants to write a tune and bring it in.
Yeah.
We love that. Everyone wants new music. That's the best thing in the world. For recording stuff, we book the studio time. That is super hard to figure out when everyone's free, just as hard as a rehearsal. Yeah. But we do it. We make it happen, and it's great.
Do you have any like systems or tools that you use to try to like find common booking times, or do you just grit it out with a lot of back and forth?
Well, we've had a group chat for 10 years strong, but at this point we've all kind of grown up together and we're like siblings. So the group chat can be counterproductive. But otherwise, if we have something big like a studio session, that's one date we need to figure out 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. We can do it.
Yeah. So just
we got it.
Planning ahead.
We have to plan ahead. If anyone's like, hey, how do you feel about rehearsing this Sunday? Everyone's like, no.
Right.
No, you needed to talk about that at least a week ago.
Yeah. And I'm sure just because of the challenges of finding time, like everybody probably comes with the attitude of like, if it's possible, I should try to make it work versus, oh, it's not perfectly convenient for me, so I'm going to say no, because then nobody would ever come to a consensus.
Yeah, if that was the mindset, I don't think the band could exist. Right. Because it's a serious project. We love it to death. None of us are rich off of it. So you can't come in with that kind of attitude.
Yeah. What about like the roles that, famously nobody wants to do? Like, hey, you got to book the shows, or hey, you've got to post to social media, or, put together the EPK for so-and-so and, all that kind of stuff.
So that kind of work has been kind of delegated between me and Sten Johnson over the past many, many years. We like it. It's also, for me personally, it's been a learning opportunity for the business side, the logistical side, where, I've been a professional musician since I was 19. I really only knew how to play. I only knew that side of things until I was given that responsibility, and I kind of jumped at it. Yeah. It's nice to know how to do all those things.
How many members that play in the band are doing it full time? Music in general.
Well, everyone. Well, that's a good question. I think almost everyone. Everyone. Some folks have day gigs. Some folks love to have day gigs. Make your money and forget about it. Others are music educators full time, and then other people still are pro musician, like full-time musicians, but you still make your money teaching, still make your money writing music for other people. So there's maybe 2 people with day jobs in the band, I think, right now.
Sure.
But we're all grinding it out just the same.
The reason I ask is that when you have that many people all grinding it out and stuff, that I feel like in some ways that can be a challenge in and of itself, because then there's so many other priorities happening too. But additionally, it makes me wonder about, leadership and the creative decisions, because that's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, right? That are all very serious about their craft. I've had other interviews and stuff where it's like clearly like there's a front person and there's the band, and the band is all talented and stuff, but there's very clearly defined roles of like this person is creatively in charge and the band is hired to be in, and they can contribute and everything, but there's one person that's in charge, has the final say. Yeah. But it sounds like this is probably pretty democratized.
It really is, and it's been that way since the beginning. I will say Sten Johnson writes a lot of the compositions. I write maybe the second most amount of the compositions, and then Aaron Levine's written stuff, Jake Baldwin's written stuff, Josh May's written stuff. Other members, they bring in stuff. It doesn't mean, if I've brought in plenty of things where, like I said, everyone's like siblings in that band. People are like, I don't really think this isn't very good. And it's not like the whole thing is just like sweep it under the rug, get rid of it. But, then it's up to me to either go back to the drawing board and figure out how to salvage it or just be like, we'll get him on the next one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is the band culture sort of like you got to have some pretty thick skin?
If we didn't all know each other so well, I would say yes.
But everybody's tight, so there's...
We bicker. When things feel amazing, there's no better feeling in the world. And when someone wants to kind of argue a point or give their perspective and it's the total opposite, it's not like they're walking on eggshells. People will let you know.
Sure.
But I find that to be refreshing compared to a lot of the other
if it works, it works.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. What about subs? Do you guys sub out ever?
Yeah, occasionally. We have a lovely group of people that we would always choose from if and when we need a sub. People who know brass band music, people who can just like play, people that are a no-brainer choice that we don't have to worry about. But because of our, we'll say, camaraderie between band members and the way we act in a rehearsal, I always just like look over at whoever's subbing on the rehearsal and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a lot. I know. It's so funny.
It's a lot to step into.
I think so. But it's just because everyone's like so amped up and pretty goofy. I love it.
All right. Another thing that I immediately was thinking about, and I was like, okay, if I had a 10-person brass band, like, how does it work with like even just the rehearsal logistics of finding where do you rehearse first of all?
Oh, that's a great question. So I can give you the timeline of where we rehearsed, I suppose. Like when I first joined the band, we had a little rehearsal studio above the bar Station 280. Do you know that bar? Right off Highway 280 in Como.
Yep.
And I believe that was also the rehearsal space for a band called New Sound Underground.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we use that, because that was Sten Johnson's band, who was kind of stepping into the manager role for McNasty at the time. Then this was a great thing for any band to do if you can stand each other. Like half of the band moved in with each other.
Sure.
So they all lived in a house in South Minneapolis. And every Friday afternoon, we would go and rehearse at their house. Mm-hmm. And then they moved to Northeast, and then even more band members moved in together. And then we would go rehearse in that house's basement every Sunday. And then this was like late 2019. We were doing really great. We were playing all over the place. Things were happening for us. It was fantastic. We got our own studio space from where Reina Del Cid was rehearsing at the time. And we rented that, and that was going to just be our place, a place like this for us to make content, record ideas. Business was booming. And then we lost all our shows in early 2020, as everyone did. So then we had to pull out of that one. And ever since we rehearsed at people's houses, we changed whose house we're going to rehearse at. We had a great year of like rehearsing in fields because we're all acoustic instruments anyways. Now we use Jazz Central Studios a lot to rehearse. We figure it out now. McPhail, anywhere with a good room where we can play loud.
Yeah, right. Because it is loud.
Yeah.
It's loud. Mm-hmm. What's the typical rundown on just like communication? I'm sure everybody's got earplugs in to some extent or like, and then, I guess just how does that work?
Well, a lot of people, especially since we're all professional musicians, we do wear ear protection. Yep. We got to play the long game.
Yep.
So yeah, people have plugs in. When we're playing a show, we use our in-ears rig, which has helped just kind of control volume level and blend and balance really well. And then when it comes to actually rehearsing tunes, a long time ago, we defaulted to writing our compositions. So everyone's part is notated.
Okay.
It's a little counterproductive at this point for us to try to learn a tune by ear, write a tune by ear. We try to add intricacies to our music that just like, it would take way too much effort. The juice is not worth the squeeze if you're learning by ear. So for rehearsing, everyone has their music. We play our shows, obviously, all memorized. We don't like to look like the people on stage with an iPad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the charts are written in a way where it's like, okay, everyone start from this measure number. okay, everyone start
Right.
from this section, and it's just clearly notated for everyone to just knock it out of the park first try.
I would have to think so, because even when you've got like a 4-person band, just the amount of
I know.
noodling and extra stuff that's going to happen times 2, it's just insane. Like, it just, the productivity would be so difficult, I think, without.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. There's a lot less noodling when it's a band of all horn players and all the music is written. I mean, we have drummers as well, but, it's people who are just like, all right, it's written right here. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I've been in many other bands where there is no written music, right? You're learning tunes just in a room together, or like you're jamming to learn a tune, right? Or to write a tune, you're jamming together. I mean, it's a noodler's paradise. We don't really do that.
What's like the hardest rehearsal space problem you've had to solve?
Well, since the whole band doesn't live in one house together anymore. So once that became a thing, it's just basically finding which of our spots that we typically use is open and available for a very specific time.
Yeah. More like one-off. Hey, we're going to take Jazz Central Studios for this block of time.
Yeah, just 2 hours. Let's get together, do what we need to do.
And you've been together long enough that you don't necessarily have to have continuous rehearsals at this point, is what I'm getting.
I love it when we do. I mean, it's always so refreshing to just keep everything tight, keep everything just fresh on your mind. And, anytime you can get together with your band, it doesn't matter what the band is, there's that energy in the room of like, well, we're getting together this much. Let's get some new music going. Like, just kind of keep the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
I love that. I want that so much. So the more we get together, the better.
And you're able to just sort of you don't have to commit to like a monthly amount of time at any of these spaces. They kind of let you do one-offs when you pick up and slow down as needed.
We have some untold system where with 10 people in your band, someone's always bound to be able to find a spot,
I guess. Yeah. I want to circle back to a little bit of like the creative decisions and stuff. Cause you mentioned like there's a lot of different ways that it gets solved, but maybe dig into like, okay, well, when there's actual like conflict, comes to a head, 2 people can't agree or 2 camps can't agree or whatever. Like what's the method?
You mean creatively?
Yeah. Creatively.
I think the method typically, first of all, we're a pretty open-minded group of people. If someone brings in something new, people are hungry, they're excited, they're super positive. Like that's the direction we always want to be moving.
Yep.
So no one has ever brought something in and someone else is just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like we want that. However, if it's something like I brought stuff in that maybe it seems like it was a half-baked idea, like it wasn't quite where it should be in someone else's opinion. In the rehearsal, I mean, people are not afraid to just be like, nah, like this isn't there yet. Like, here's why.
Got it.
And I mean, I'm ready to receive that information. I think anyone who brings in something written out needs to be ready to get their criticism.
Okay.
And,
and so
take it with a grain of salt.
So I'm following that through, and that generally then the vibe is like everybody should be pretty pumped about it and pretty on board. And because generally that's people want to be. You don't have members in there that are just looking to tear things down, because obviously the group wouldn't last if that's the case.
Yeah.
And because that's a real thing in bands too, like especially when you have different people contributing different ideas. There can be different goals. There can be different styles. And so some people can just be against a certain thing. And so, there's also the balance of, okay, if you've got a primary songwriter or 2 primary songwriters or whatever, but then you've got that one guy who's bringing in their first one, like, necessarily shoot them down on the first one.
It's a pretty big hurdle to bring in your first chart. And both Sten and I were the original, I would say we're the original writers for the group.
Yep.
Since then, more people have stepped up and written some amazing charts. But Sten and I both have those reps, and from other bands writing, just for all sorts of ensembles, we have those reps where I'll bring something in. Anyone can say anything. It's okay. But I know for a fact, like 10 years ago, if I brought anything into anyone, like, first of all, internally, I'm very giddy because I get to hear my composition played.
Yep.
But I was also like super nervous people weren't going to like it. Super nervous people would comment on literally how it was written.
Yeah.
Because they could be like, hey, this isn't, you should have written this way so that it's easier for me to read the first time. Like, you're making me sound bad.
Right.
So I was really fragile and excited. Like, I don't know, the amount of emotions of bringing stuff in for the first time is pretty intense. But after like the second or third one, you're like, all right, we got this.
Yeah. But I guess too, that sets a bar, right? And so if you're going to do it, you got to be ready to do it, you know?
Yeah, you just got to jump in. The other thing that can be daunting, I think, if you're in a band that has a writer, if they've been the writer for years, they have a process, they have a presentation. Like, it's just like any other business. Like, this is the person that does that thing. Then if someone else comes in from the side is like, I think I want to do that too. It's a scary like first step to just show up and do it as confidently as the person who's been doing it, who's set kind of like the standard.
I think what makes it scary too is that everybody's, you know, for the brass band, you're reading charts. Everybody's has theory and understands music. And so even just as you mentioned, like, well, this part's not written exactly for my instrument the right way it should be. Like, you know, you're writing this with trumpets in mind, or this melody or whatever, you know, and obviously everybody's versed in how the pieces fit together, but you know, you probably have strengths to some extent,
yes,
and or tendencies for what you want something to be done on, or so I just think there's a lot of opportunity for critique.
Yeah, the cool thing is, and I've seen this from other really just great horn players who are older than me and more experienced than me, but in recording studio sessions, even when, no, this is the music we're recording, it's done. You're reading it and you're recording it. There's a way to say that this isn't written properly that actually makes someone feel more excited. And you can say like, oh man, like, what if we did it this way? Like, you don't have to say like, hey, this is wrong.
Exactly.
First of all, this is not right. You can open the conversation by saying like, hey, how do you feel about like if we played this note long and this note short and then added vibrato right here? It's like you add that extra layer that kind of highlights your instrument in the way it should be played.
I love that you're saying that. You start with the solution, not the problem.
Oh yeah, offer a solution. People will probably hire you again too that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for every type of band.
Yep.
You're always going to have certain problems and difficulties and things that need to be worked through.
Yeah.
Start with the solution. Start with a proactive approach of, hey, what if, and could we try this? And all the things that aren't, well, this is wrong, and here's why it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't even necessarily need to get to that if we just fix it.
Yeah, and I guess now I'll backtrack. I know I said we're all like siblings in McNasty, and people will tell me if they don't like something, which I love, but they also are quick to answer it. But like, what if it was like this? You know, it's not just like we're done here.
And that is so, so important.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you have somebody that does the other way, it kills the vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And the communication gets shut down, and it's it's a problem right away. All right, moving on to other, the logistics. I'm just like, this is crazy. Is how do you, I mean, the math here of payouts and splitting money and just, you know, how does that work out? You got 10 members.
Yes, for a long time, we've just had a firm dollar amount that everyone is paid every single gig, no matter what kind of gig.
Okay.
And as a brass band, we play clubs, we play public events, we play festivals, we play educational things. We get called to really play anything you could imagine.
Yeah.
And that means that all these gigs pay different things as well. So to decide if we want to take a gig, we check availability, we look into what the kind of gig is, we decide for this kind of gig it should pay this much, but at the end of the day, every single gig pays the same amount of money. And early on, like, we all get it, we're all in this together at this point. Early on, it was to not incentivize people to pick and choose gigs, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I'm only going to play the gigs that are like this kind of gig.
Okay.
You know, everything has to pay the same. There's no reason anyone should not be in it for that reason. But I don't know if that made any sense.
Well,
but
let me clarify. When you say they have to pay the same, that was what you're getting paid by the venue, or that's being paid out by the
business. Yeah.
Okay.
We pay ourselves the same amount every single performance that we do.
Okay.
Yeah. And that number doesn't change regardless of what kind of show it is.
So then that means you have to have a certain minimum, right, to take the gig?
No, not necessarily, because it all comes out in the wash. Like, for example, if you're playing a club show where you're getting a cut of the door and it's a 4-band bill, you can't set a minimum for yourself.
Right.
You got to do that for your people. You got to do that for the sake of the scene, and because it's a blast and you get to play music with other bands, you get to play with your friends. Like, there are just different rules for different gigs that you have to follow.
So, but in that scenario, then, if you're paying yourself a certain amount, no matter what, that's because you have money built up.
Yep, from the gigs that pay
over. Yeah,
over that.
So yeah, you have sort of an operating cash flow budget at some point.
Exactly.
Because you've had enough gigs where you didn't pay out the full amount, you saved some, you put some back in the bank account so that the gigs that aren't hitting that minimum threshold, people are still getting paid.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense now.
Yeah, it all works out in the end.
Yep.
And then with that method of doing things, we're also, keeping money for our creative decisions, for recording, for making content.
Right.
I think that's a pretty important thing for anyone.
Always.
Now. Yeah.
Yep. Related, talk to me about the types of gigs, because I think that's one of the most unique things about the brass band is you guys get to play some different types of things, because it's not common, right? There's not a lot of brass bands out there doing this. So
it's kind of booming right now. There's a ton of really great brass bands, even in the Twin Cities. I mean, what's funny is it's still pretty niche. I think if people want it, they can find it.
Okay.
We just need more people to want it. But for gigs, it's such a great tool for school bands, right? A school band program. We're like 10 professionals that were all in band. Wow. What a great thing to put in front of your class. So we'll go and do clinics, guest artist work, things like that. We'll be like the featured guest at like a high school band concert. We're going to be featured guests at Hopkins High School's Pops concert coming up this coming spring. Things like that. Jazz festivals.
Yep.
We're a great fit. We've done Twin Cities Jazz Fest, Winnipeg Jazz Fest, parades. That's where the tradition came from, so we can walk with our instruments. We're mobile. We're a completely mobile brass band. We're acoustic. We can do it all. We used to busk outside Wild games. That was a blast. And then club shows. We played club shows through all this. Yeah, right? We got Turf Club coming up.
Yep.
Yeah. We're playing the Turf Club on January 31st with Shane Cox and the Funky Spuds and the Clean Plate Club. It's going to be amazing.
What are the other groups like?
Shane Cox is a multi-instrumentalist of brass instruments. So from sousaphone to trombone to trumpet, slide trumpet with a rhythm section playing along with him. So really great. It's a really impressive show. You got to come check out Shane. They're opening the bill. And then Clean Plate Club is a younger band. Got to work with younger bands. You got to love it. You got to love the energy.
Yeah.
We're getting older. I shouldn't say that. But Clean Plate Club is a great band that does some originals and covers as well. That it's just all high energy. It's good vibes music. I mean, they're doing stuff like they're playing some Wolfpack stuff. I've heard them play Cory Wong tunes. It's a riot. So it's going to be just high energy. High energy.
Sounds super
beginning
fun.
to end. Yeah, it'll be great.
January 31st, Turf Club.
Yes, come out.
What about when you are playing clubs? Is everything getting mic'd?
Everything is getting mic'd. It doesn't necessarily mean everything is coming through the system at all times. But now, in the past couple of years, we've started using an in-ear rig that we bring, and then we just go from our rig to their
Does
sound
everybody
system.
have their own mix in that rig? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 10 different sends that you can
I think so. I don't do that part. I hand my chords to Sten, and Sten does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything is mic'd all the way to like an overhead mic on the little tiny cymbal on the bass drum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all in. 4 vocal mics up front. It's a big to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a complicated system. I mean, the whole thing is like getting the mix right can't be easy.
And getting the mix right is so important just for how we write our music and what we need to hear. But it's never quite lost on me the fact that, I mean, it's an acoustic tradition. We could do all of this without any microphones at all.
Right.
We require it. It's
well,
fun.
there's an element of like, does it make it considerably harder once you start having to do in-ears and mics and stuff versus just standing next to each other?
I think it is considerably harder when you have wedges.
Yeah.
When you're totally mic'd up, you have that much sound coming naturally from your instruments and then that much sound blasting back at you. So hard to get what I would consider like a mix that's going to make me feel happy and comfortable as a trumpet player for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
With in-ears, you just take so many decibels out of the room without all those wedges.
Yeah.
And then, you fine tune. So it went from acoustic, if you're in the right room, sure, we can hear each other.
Yep.
Mic'd up with wedges, it's like, we call it press and pray. You just jam that horn on your face and get through it. But now with in-ears, we can bring a little bit of the much needed finesse.
Are you using your own mics?
Yep.
Clip-on stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got all of our own backline.
Yeah,
and
you're
gear.
all set up. You just send outputs to the front.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would think so. That's got to solve a lot of things because then you're getting the right balance or the right vibe and you're mobile.
Yeah, and it guarantees a uniform sound. I mean, at the very least in our own ears. Like there's no surprises. When you're using someone else's gear at every venue, I don't know, it can be a crapshoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do any touring?
We definitely travel and play. Years ago, we would do some touring. We actually played up in Canada quite a bit and then around the Midwest. 2 years ago, we were one of the guest performers for the Great American Brass Band Festival. And that's a big deal down in Kentucky. And that's like a massive brass band get together and party and festival. So that was a huge honor for us. Hopefully we get to go back and do it again sometime soon. Outside of that, again, as everyone's getting older, the stars really have to align for us to do a tour. We would love to. It'd be great.
Do you guys just like rent a school bus or how does it work?
For a long time, Sten owned a passenger van.
Yeah.
Giant white passenger van. We would go rent a U-Haul trailer, load it up, pile in, and cross the border.
Yep.
Yeah, good times. I mean, those are some of the best times of my life. The touring's tough, though. Everyone knows that. Everyone who's done it knows that.
Yeah, and it's easier when you're young and fresh.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep, totally.
Speaking of, it was come up a few times, but we've sort of passed over the fact that, I mean, you guys have done this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is an impressive feat. Keeping any band together for over 10 years deserves a round of applause. That's not easy. I think especially when you have all of the difficulties of that many people. That's exponentially harder. What's been the key to like longevity and keeping it fun, keeping people wanting to do it?
I think if I thought about it from my point of view, we all started this quite young. We were all in our early 20s when we started together, and we were all fine musicians. We were not by any means a top call musician on our instrument. We were not at that level. Throughout the years, as people brought in new music, the new music was consistently a little bit outside of our ability to play it.
Okay.
So then as new music came in, we were forced to get better at our instruments and forced to get better at playing with each other. And you just, that keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. So realistically, now I'm comfortable saying I think the band is full of all top call musicians in the Twin Cities and beyond. Like it's such an amazing thing, especially remembering when I was 21 years old in the band. And we were good. We sounded great, but I know what we sounded like compared to now. So it's that anytime anyone brought in new music, it was harder than the last music that showed up. So we constantly all had to get better as a group. And it's turned into just everyone in the band having really, really brilliant careers now. It's beautiful. So I think that helped. The other thing is it's a band full of side musicians. No one's a tried and true like frontman. No one's a tried and true lead. Everyone is used to being a hired gun. So when we get those opportunities to kind of come together and be our own uniform thing.
Sure.
I don't know. There might be something to that.
Yeah.
For us just sticking it out as long as we have. And
Yeah.
of course, we all love each other.
I think it's great. And I think it's really impressive. I hope it, see in another 10 years kind of thing. And
yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. Come on. I would say I really do think the longevity of any band has to do with pushing the limits and boundaries of the members of the band. And for us being horn players and drummers, that ability was kind of technical ability, right? We wanted to play higher, louder, faster.
yeah.
It's cool.
All right. I think I just have some sort of random questions to wrap things up here. Is there any rules or habits or tools or anything like that you think are kind of integral to keeping it all together?
I think the number one thing to keeping it all together is, well, boy, I don't know. That's a tough one because it's 10 individuals in a band. And within those 10 individuals, you get 10 completely different point of views on everything. I like my role traditionally in the band is to, maybe I'm annoying, but check in with folks. Just be like, hey, how you doing? What's new? What's up?
Yeah.
So I don't know, having that kind of energy of we love this is serious, but let's not take it too seriously and let's check in on each other. Let's enjoy each other's company. Things like that. Just keeping it, I'm sure that's true for any job. I don't know. Just keeping it human.
Yeah, I believe that. When you walk into a new venue, is there anything that you're like, ooh, this, a sign or a feature or a design where you're like, this is going to be a good night or this is going to be a problem?
There have been some venues where we walk in and we find out it doubles as a nightclub or something like that. Like the old, okay, your set's over, get off stage so the DJ can come up because the nightclub's opening now.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff where it's at first glance, you're like, this is going to be a whole thing. But, in the specific instance I'm thinking of, fantastic show.
Okay.
Had a great time. So, there are always those things where you show up to an outdoor music festival and it's one of those foldable trailer stages. It's like a truck trailer kind of thing. A lot of the time I'll see that and I'll be like, oh no, we're not going to be able to move around very much on stage because it's wobbly and then your trumpet mouthpiece moves around on your face. I don't know. But, that's all a little bit judging a book by its cover stuff because in the end, it never really ends up being boy, I was right. That was bad.
Well, do you ever have situations where it's this is just too small of a space?
Yeah. When we were first coming up, we would play at Palmer's all the time in the little, the triangle stage in the back or over by the dartboards. So yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. There's still venues we play a lot where it's okay, remember, this is where we're playing. Everyone get in your zone and we're not going to move too much tonight.
Yeah.
But at least we all like each other.
I guess at the end of the day, because it's all acoustic instruments, it's just instruments in a room can be fun no matter what, and
that's right.
So if there's sound, because I do think, sometimes with bands, they can walk in and see something where it's clearly the PA is going to suck and the sound is going to be bad and stuff. But in some ways, you don't have to rely on that. If that's the case, you go acoustic.
Yeah. And the other side with it being 10 people who work as side men, side people, side musicians, we've all played worse gigs than whatever a McNasty Brass Band gig is about to be.
Got it.
We've all done it. We've all done it all.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
at the end of the day, we're pretty chill about rolling with the punches.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to start a brass band up, what's step one?
Step one, find another person and play music together. I mean, if you know nothing about the tradition, if you know nothing about the music, sure, try to give yourself a deep dive, but I don't think people want to start a brass band without having heard brass band before. So, first thing, number one thing, play music with someone else. That's for any band. I work with a lot of children. A lot of children always ask that question toward the end of like a Q&A session or something. It's like, don't sit around waiting for the best musicians.
Let's assume that it's a college student and they've been playing, but they want to get out and they want to like put together the ensemble. They've got some friends, but like step one in terms of making it a reality.
Step one, well, maybe step one is get a tuba, but step one is really just finding another warm body to play music with.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. That you don't need to sit around and wait for someone that you think is at the right level to join your band. You need to find someone who wants to play music with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's more where I think step one needs to be.
What were your first struggles in terms of like getting first gigs?
I kind of had it easy. I was at the U of M. There's a little brass player bulletin board at the college, and one of them was just a printed email that someone had written, and the email said, "I just had quadruple bypass heart surgery. I need someone to split the lead trumpet book with this big band with me. Email me." I emailed him, and it is a guy named Mike Hillman, and he turned out to be just a fantastic mentor for me for gigging since I was like 19. So I had the easy in. I just responded to one email and then stuck to that gig until I slowly started subbing on other stuff and branched out just like everyone else has to,
Do you find that there's certain things you need to tell venues in advance?
I think if everyone knows how to do their job properly, not really.
Okay.
I think that can all be taken care of before you accept an offer, before you advance your show, or at least the venues we play at, people know what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've covered sort of everything that was at the top of mind for me. Is there anything else that you want to get into
Let me
that
see.
you think is relevant for people?
Go support your local brass band. Treat horn players with love and respect. Love your drummers. No, that's it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you.
Super interesting. I love it. I ask all the guests, if they want to share a tip, a secret, anything like that along to the scene, something that maybe you would want to have known when you were getting started. What would that be?
I think the number one thing is if you want to start playing shows around town, go to shows, meet people, say what's up. Don't try to headline your first show. Try to hop on a bill with someone who's been doing it for a minute.
Yeah. That's always the best way in.
Yeah.
Yep. 100% agree. If people want to connect with you or with the band, where do you like to send people?
Instagram straight up. Instagram for McNasty Brass Band is at McNasty Brass. I'm at Helgeson Riley.
All right. We're going to throw those links in the show notes.
Cool.
And we'll also, of course, put the January 31st show in the notes as well, so people can grab tickets to that.
Yeah.
But Riley, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Stephen.
For everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did. We'll see you next time.